Welcome back. This is Tim with the University of Vinyl. I'm doing today my second kind of year-end wrap-up video. I'm going to be featuring 13 different albums that are my favorite used vinyl finds of the year. All but two of these albums were purchased in physical used record shops, antique stalls, indoor flea markets, and I'm going to try and remember maybe a few of the different stories and circumstances behind the albums. I might talk a little bit about the album too. If you check out all of my videos over the past year though, anything labeled vinyl find, for the most part, although I do have some very recent finds, I've covered many of these albums in depth. So I'm going to kind of motor through these today, but this is the top 13 vinyl finds of my year 2021. Stay tuned. Let's get started with a vinyl find that happened just yesterday. I have one of my super grails that I have found. This is Siamese Dream, Smashing Pumpkins. Now I have the double LP black vinyl repress. And if you do some research on Discogs, you'll see that there was an original press of three different color variants. I think it was a purple marble, a pink marble, and an orange solid color, or maybe an orange marble. And then later in 1993, 94, and a couple years later, they did 1,000 press print runs of the black vinyl version using the original plates that were mastered at Masterdisc by Howie Weinberg. So I have one of what I believe is about 4,000 OG black vinyl represses. I've already given this a couple spins. It sounds amazing. I am incredibly pleased to have found this just yesterday at one of my favorite shops in Fort Collins, Colorado. That's Bazaar, right across from the Colorado State University campus on College Avenue. And fantastic shop. Very well priced. Managed to pick this up for under median on Discogs. And if you know, you know, these things are going for starting at $200 and north of that. So fantastic find to kind of close out the year. I may have time to walk into a couple more record stores before we hit midnight on December 31st. But if this is the last one, I'll take it. I rarely come across MoFi titles used in record stores. There's a couple places in Denver that I have found some, one in Longmont, Colorado as well, and then another one just recently here in Fort Collins. And I was happy to see this. This is Face Dance's 1981. This is the original MoFi press. And this was on the Japanese Super Vinyl. It's got the old style MoFi white label, 33 1/3 album. Did a little research on Steve Hoffman forums before I decided to walk out with this. And most people, the consensus is that this is the title to own if you want the best sounding analog direct from the master tapes copy, and that is what I have in my hand. I will say that this sounds incredible, absolute great clarity. Of course, you know, this was the first Who album, post Keith Moon, so it's got a different feel to it. It's a little subdued, but this is really a fantastic album if you're a Who fan. It's a historical album. There are some great songs on the album as well, and man, happy to find the MoFi out in the wild. Late last week, I had an opportunity to drop by one of my favorite shops in Colorado, if not the United States of America. That is Absolute Vinyl and Stereo on Main Street in Longmont, Colorado, owned by an incredible, great guy, Doug Gaddy. Doug Gaddy, if you don't know, has got a long history in the record business. He had a shop in Boulder, Colorado for decades. Eventually kind of had a real estate issue there, as many people are having or have had in Boulder. Quickly gentrifying, prices are going through the roof. He found a great spot in Longmont. He's been open for a few years there. Every time I go to this guy's shop, I find something worthwhile, something interesting. He painstakingly grades everything. He cleans every record by hand. He is old school, good people. So last week, was shocked to find two Iggy and the Stooges albums right there, and they're in fantastic condition. These are later represses, but they sound fantastic for what they are. Neither of these albums were recorded incredibly well, we all know that, but happy to add these to the collection. I've been thinking and looking and telling myself, man, I need some Iggy and the Stooges. I particularly like Raw Power over Funhouse, but they're both fantastic albums and great used finds out in the wild this year. Another purchase made at Absolute Vinyl this year in Longmont, Colorado. That is an original Highway 61 stereo cut. This is on the great Columbia 2i. The thing's in near mint condition. You know, you will see copies of this, you know, very readily out there, but I have never seen something with this crisp of corners on that outer sleeve. And the black vinyl has got tons of luster. It plays nearly silent, and it is a very, very dynamic recording and one of Bob Dylan's best. Super happy to have this. This past summer, Mazzy, everybody knows Mazzy of the VC. Hopefully you do. If you watch my channel, I'm pretty sure you know Norman Masloff and his channel, which is a fantastic channel. Fantastic guy out in Seattle. Unfortunately, he lost one of his dearest best friends this past spring, spring, summer. That, of course, was Coleman Burke. I participated. There's a very cool postcard that Mazzy sent out with albums that he sold. He and Coffee Dave, a local buddy in Seattle, ended up purchasing Coleman's entire record collection from, I believe, his sister, who arranged everything. And they both have incorporated huge amounts of that big collection into their own collections, but they have also sold many, many different titles. And they did a couple, maybe 2 or 3 live streams. And I was happy to kind of partake in one. I think it was the last one. It might have been in August, if I am remembering that correctly. But I bid on and won a Bob Dylan lot. And the 2 prizes for me out of this acquisition were those 2 back to basics, you know, solo Bob on an acoustic guitar. Good As I've Been to You and World Gone Wrong, 1992, 1993 respectively. These are incredibly rare, not easy to find. What an honor to have these from Coleman's collection. Of course, they were both kept in fantastic condition, so they're basically both near mint. Really happy to add those, and was kind of happy to kind of be a part of this, which was kind of a big story this year in the vinyl community. I've got another one that was just kind of a random late afternoon. I walked into Bazaar, one of my favorite locations in Fort Collins, Colorado. Here's my secret. I'm going to give it away. I have a circuit of shops that I like, and I try and get into each shop once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks at the max. Particularly a couple of these shops that I know have got a good turnover. They're kind of known in town for people who are not in the know and like, oh, what do I do with these vinyl records? You know, these things are obsolete. Oh, let's go drop them off at XYZ store. So I just happen to know that there's a good turnover coming in, and I make it a point to stop in frequently. So this was from Bizarre Bazaar. Power, Corruption, and Lies, New Order. What a fantastic album. Absolutely clean, near mint. It's got that die cut cover, and I don't see New Order albums out in the wild hardly ever. So I jumped on this when I saw it. It was a decent price, and it is now in my collection. I've got the first of two used Led Zeppelin titles that I found this year. In my research, I did a whole video on my kind of policy or thinking about, you know, putting together a Led Zeppelin collection in 2021, knowing that some of the best reissues and best pressings out there came from classic records. They have skyrocketed in price. It's very hard to find them. They're not really affordable all the time. But if you kind of do your research and, you know, one person I'd like to give a shout out to is the Vinyl Archivist. Make sure you check out his channel. He knows a lot about different pressings. He knows a lot about Led Zeppelin. I watched a video that he put out, I think it was this spring. It was his recommendations on Led Zeppelin pressings and what he would recommend to pick up. And I took his information kind of to heart, and I needed a copy of Led Zeppelin 1, which I didn't have, and the Vinyl Archivist, in his opinion, and it's kind of backed up online as well, if you look at all of the Hoffman Forums threads on Led Zeppelin, the George Piros reissue, mastered by George Piros. I've got another video featuring George Piros masterings. Check out my playlist for that. But Atlantic Records did some reissues, of course, of Led Zeppelin. They've done several reissues through the years. I have a 1974 reissue with AT for Atlantic Records and GP George Piros in the dead wax. And in particular of importance, it's on the Monarch pressing plant. So it's got MO in the dead wax and under the label matrix as well. So this is a fantastic sounding copy of Led Zeppelin 1. If you need a copy, look for a early 70s reissue mastered by George Piros, and recommended is that Monarch pressing plant. I've talked about this find several times on the channel this year, and I'm still just kind of shocked, you know, that I came upon this incredible find. I am talking about Led Zeppelin 2. I'm talking about the Robert Ludwig infamous hot cut, hot mix. This is a Pittman press. Columbia Pittman, and it has sterling sound and the RL etching on both sides. It is in near mint condition. It is an incredibly mind-blowing listen. This thing is like night and day. Find a run-of-the-mill 1970s repress, and do an A-B against that pressing that you may have, and if you're lucky enough to have one of these, it is just night and day. It's incredible. This is not going to be leaving my collection until I leave this earth. Those are my words as I'm standing by them right now. Led Zeppelin 2, the incredible, infamous RL hot mix that I found in the spring this year, priced for $30 in a record shop. They did not know what they had, and I was very happy to find that. Just in passing, 2 months later, I found another RL. This was also a Columbia Pittman press. It only had the Sterling sound stamp on one side. It did have RL on both sides, but the condition was much worse. I bought that album for $20, ended up flipping it on eBay. It went to 81 bucks. So you just never know. It's pretty widely agreed online that the best pressing of the self-titled white Fleetwood Mac album, one of the best pressings, if you can find that 45, double 45 Steve Hoffman, Kevin Gray cut, by all means, jump on that. It is very difficult to find. The second option out there, of course, is one of the early original presses, mastered at Ken Dunn Recorders. Look for that Ken Dunn stamp. And this is an incredible, dynamic, wide soundstage recording. I have a club edition later on, which does not have Ken Dunn in the dead wax. And again, it's night and day. You want to try and find the Ken Dunn mastered copy, early issues of that self-titled. What an amazing album. First album, of course, with Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks when they joined Fleetwood Mac. Found this at a local chain used record, used bookstore. It was priced at $12. This thing, I think, median value on Discogs is north of $40 or $50. So super happy with that. Another very, very clean, near mint pressing. That's on that Reprise label. Another find down in Longmont, Colorado at Absolute Vinyl. That was a copy of the infamous 30th anniversary of Dark Side of the Moon. This is one of the top 5, I think, that you can own as far as sound quality. And I am really, really happy with this thing. It's in near mint condition. I paid under $100 for this, so I was happy to find this at the time. And it is my only copy right now of Dark Side of the Moon. I don't feel a need to replace it with anything else in the near future. That is Dark Side of the Moon, the 30th anniversary pressing. One of my favorite record shops in Boulder, Colorado is Paradise Found Records, and they had a grand opening. They just opened on the fantastic Pearl Street Mall, which is the big pedestrian, basically an outdoor shopping mall through the old town of Boulder. They opened in April. They had a grand opening day that day, and they had on their kind of holy moly wall some really special things. And one of those, of course, was Tupelo Honey, and not just any copy of Tupelo Honey. This was a white label promo, and this thing was in near mint condition. Check out that hype sticker. Of course, it's, this is an iconic Van Morrison album. There's that gatefold, glare and all today. But great find. One of my favorite shops again. That's Paradise Found Records in Boulder, Colorado. I'm going to end up with an album that came out in 1969 originally. I was in this used book and used record national chain store in Fort Collins, Colorado. It's on my circuit, I'm telling you right now. I will hit that place at least once a week. It's just unbelievable what you can find there. Also, the staff in there, I think they have a high turnover. I'm not sure how they come to pricing individual titles, because I've seen several different copies of different records for anywhere, priced at $8, $12, $79. I'm not kidding. But this is what I found. Of course, this is music from Big Pink, the band. This is an original pressing. You can tell by that white border on top. Very, very, very fine condition on that kind of rainbow capital label. Again, this thing plays fantastically. Fantastically, is that a word? I'm getting ahead of myself. Picked this up for, I think it was either $10 or $12. Pulled out my phone, you know, kind of did a quick check on Discogs. You know, is this a mid-1970s reissue? It definitely is not. I've got an OG here and couldn't believe that I was walking out at that price and a record in this condition. Really, really happy. That was the first kind of great find that I had for this year, 2021. Music from Big Pink, the band. There it is, 13 fantastic used titles that I found out in the wild, save for the two that I got from the Coleman collection, organized by Mazzy, of course. Thank you again, Mazzy, for that. I want to take a minute and say thank you very much. Everyone who has supported my channel this year. I started the channel back in, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary, back in late January of this year. I have just gone over 4,900 subscribers. That just is mind-blowing. I was thinking, you know, I did this kind of on a whim. Thought, you know, maybe a few people might watch. Maybe I'll get the hang of doing this and feel kind of comfortable behind the camera or in front of the camera. I'm pretty comfortable doing this. I'm really enjoying it. Thank you very much, everyone who is taking a couple minutes out of their day to watch any of these videos over the past 11 months. I'm planning something special for my 1-year anniversary, but you'll see me before that. I'll be back very soon with more videos. If you liked this today, I would really appreciate it. Maybe take a minute and subscribe. You will be notified as soon as I post a new video. And also, it never hurts to like the video as well. So, happy holidays, everybody. I will be back soon and wish everyone a fantastic night. Thank you very much.